The metallic click of the lock echoed like a gunshot in the empty locker room, trapping me against the cold tile wall with nowhere to run. His eyes, those damn hazel eyes that had haunted my dreams for 2 years, locked onto mine wild and desperate, as if he'd finally cracked open the vault we'd both been pretending didn't exist. "I can't do this anymore, Jake," Ethan whispered, his voice breaking like thunder in the silence. "Pretending you're just my roommate when every night I lie awake wanting to touch you." I froze, heart slamming against my ribs like it was trying to escape. The air was thick with the scent of chlorine and sweat from the afternoon swim practice, the kind of humid haze that clung to your skin in the bowels of our Midwestern College's athletic center. It was late, past 9 on a Thursday in late October, the campus outside buzzing with the faint cheers from the football game across the quad, but down here it felt like the world had shrunk to just us. Ethan, my roommate of 2 years, the guy who'd crashed into my life like a rogue wave, stood there in his damp Speedo, water droplets tracing paths down his broad shoulders, his chest rising and falling too fast. He was 6'2" of lean muscle and quiet intensity, the kind of all-American farm boy who'd grown up wrestling pigs in Iowa before landing a swimming scholarship at State. And me? Jake Harlan, 5'11", wiry from endless laps and late-night study sessions, the kid from Chicago's South Side who'd clawed his way into this pressure cooker world of jock culture and fragile egos. We'd met freshman year in the crappiest dorm on campus, thrown together by some sadistic housing algorithm that paired city slickers with corn-fed Heartlanders. Ethan had shown up with a duffel bag full of flannel shirts and a grin that could disarm a bomb, while I arrived hauling a beat-up guitar case and a chip on my shoulder the size of Lake Michigan. From day one it was easy, too easy. We'd binge-watch old westerns until dawn, split greasy diner pizza after his meets, and trade stories about the ghosts we carried. His absent dad who'd bailed when he was 10, my mom working double shifts as a nurse to keep the lights on. He called me Harls, like we were brothers in arms, and I'd tease him about his obsession with Johnny Cash playlists. But beneath the banter there was this undercurrent, a pull I couldn't name at first. I'd catch myself staring at the way his laugh lines crinkled when he talked about his little sister back home, or how his hand lingered a beat too long on my shoulder after a nightmare woke me up sweating. I buried it deep, told myself it was just bromance in a sea of toxic masculinity. Coming out. In a frat-heavy school like ours, where the swim team was a brotherhood forged in hazing rituals and homophobic locker room jokes. Not a chance. That denial held until sophomore year, when we scored the off-campus apartment above a dive bar on Elm Street, a 2-bedroom walk-up with creaky floors and a view of the rail yards. It was our kingdom. Faded posters of Springsteen and the Cubs on the walls, a fridge stocked with craft IPAs and leftover Thai takeout. Ethan thrived there, his easy charm drawing people like moths, girls from sororities giggling at his pickup lines, guys slapping his back after races. I played the wingman, nursing my secret like a bruise. But there were cracks. The time we got blackout drunk after his relay win, and he crashed on my bed, his arm slung over my waist like it belonged there, breath warm against my neck. I lay awake until sunrise, every nerve screaming. Or the mornings he'd emerge from the shower in nothing but a towel, oblivious to how my gaze snagged on the V of his hips, the faint scar from a childhood bike crash snaking across his abs. By junior year, the team dynamic amped up the tension. Coach Harlan, no relation thank God, was a drill sergeant in swim trunks, pushing us through 5K sets like we were training for the Olympics. Ethan was our anchor, the freestyler who shaved seconds off records with that relentless Iowa grit. I was the breaststroker, reliable but unflashy, the guy who held the relay together. Practices blurred into a rhythm of splashes and shouts, but the locker room was where the real games played out, towel snaps, crude bets on who could chug a Gatorade fastest, whispers about hookups that made my stomach twist. Ethan fit right in, his laugh booming over the din, but I'd see the flicker in his eyes when the jokes turned sharp, the way he'd change the subject or bolt for the showers. We never talked about it. Why would we? Vulnerability wasn't currency here. That Thursday, though, everything splintered. Practice had been brutal, coach riding us for sloppy turns, the water churning like our frayed nerves. Ethan had nailed his 200 free, but I botched the medley relay handoff, earning a glare that burned. We showered quick, the team filtering out to hit the bars, leaving us to lock up as usual. I was toweling off, mind replaying the screw-up, when he appeared in the doorway, still dripping, that haunted look on his face. The lock clicked. His words hung there, raw and irrevocable. Jake. Harles, he stammered, stepping closer, the tiles slick under his bare feet. I've been lying to myself. To you. Every damn day. My mouth went dry, pulse thundering in my ears. Part of me wanted to bolt, to laugh it off as post-race adrenaline, but his voice cracked on my name and something in me shattered. Ethan, what the hell? He closed the gap in 2 strides, hands gripping my shoulders, not rough but urgent, like I was the only anchor in his storm. Up close, he smelled like eucalyptus soap and desperation. I love you, man. Not like a brother. Like, God, like I can't breathe without you. The confession tumbled out, jagged edges of fear and relief. His thumbs brushed my collarbone, innocent but electric, sending sparks down my spine. I searched his face, those freckles dusted across his nose from summer's baling hay, the faint stubble shadowing his jaw, and saw the truth I'd glimpsed in stolen moments. My own walls crumbled. I've felt it too, I admitted, voice barely above a whisper. Since that stupid road trip to the dunes when you sang off-key to Wagon Wheel, and I realized I was gone. Relief flooded his eyes, and then, impossibly, he leaned in. Our lips met. Tentative at first, salt-tinged and trembling. Then deeper, a dam breaking after years of drought. It wasn't fireworks. It was a quiet implosion, the world narrowing to the press of his mouth, the hitch in his breath mirroring mine. We pulled back, foreheads touching, both shaking. This changes everything, he murmured, fingers tracing my jaw. But I don't care. As long as it's us. In that moment, locked away from the judging eyes of campus, it felt possible. Like we could rewrite the script. 2 guys from opposite coasts forging something real in the heartland's unforgiving glare. But as the steam faded and reality seeped in, I knew the storm was just brewing. Secrets like ours didn't stay buried in America's Bible Belt colleges. They erupted, leaving scars. We didn't talk much after that kiss, not with words. Instead, we lingered, drying off in silence, stealing glances that spoke volumes. He unlocked the door with a wry smile, our little fortress, and we walked back to the apartment under a canopy of turning leaves, the crisp autumn air biting at our flushed skin. The streets of Ames hummed with post-game energy, undergrads spilling from bars and Hawkeye hoodies, the distant roar of a bonfire party. Ethan slung an arm around my shoulders, casual as always, but his fingers squeezed just a fraction tighter, a private Morse code. That night, we ordered wings from the greasy spot on Main, cracked open a 6-pack of local amber ale, and sprawled on the sagging couch like nothing had shifted. But everything had. When our knees brushed, neither pulled away. Halfway through a rerun of Friday Night Lights, ironic given our own gridiron-adjacent lives, he paused the TV, turned to me with that lopsided grin. Harles, about earlier. You meant it, right? This isn't some pity play. I set my beer down, heart in my throat. Ethan, I've been in love with you since you burned that microwave popcorn and blamed the ghost of your grandma. He laughed, genuine and rumbling, then pulled me into a hug that lingered too long to be platonic. We stayed like that, his chin on my head, until the credits rolled. No more kisses that night. We weren't rushing into the fire. But as I lay in my room listening to him hum in the shower, a fragile hope took root. Maybe we could navigate this. Dates disguised as bro hangs, a love story whispered in the margins of our chaotic lives. The next week blurred into a delicate dance. Practices intensified with conference championships looming. Coach barking orders like a general prepping for D-Day. Ethan and I synced in the pool like never before. Our relay splits shaving precious seconds, chemistry translating from water to whispers in the weight room. Off the clock, we carved out stolen intimacies. A hike in the Ledges State Park, where he held my hand on a secluded trail, the Mississippi wind whipping our secrets away. Late-night drives to Des Moines for anonymity, sharing fries at a 24-hour diner and talking futures, his dream of coaching high school swim, my vague plans for a journalism gig in the city. But cracks spiderwebbed early. The team noticed Ethan's distraction first. You two hitched at the hip or what, Whitaker? Tyler, our cocky butterflyer from Omaha. Ripped during cooldowns. Ethan brushed it off with a joke about my lame taste in music, but I saw the tension in his jaw. Then came the whispers. A sorority girl he dated freshman year, now back on campus for homecoming, cornering him at a kegger. Missed you, she purred, all blonde waves and red solo cup. He extricated politely, But the next morning, hungover and hollow-eyed, he confessed over coffee. She thinks we're just taking a break. God, Jake, I hate this charade. I squeezed his hand under the table, hidden from the breakfast rush. One step at a time. We tell people when we're ready. But readiness felt like a myth. My own family was a minefield, mom devout Catholic who'd cry rivers if she knew. Dad long gone to Vegas with his bookie dreams. Ethan's folks? Salt-of-the-earth evangelicals who disown him faster than you could say, prodigal son. We were treading water in a riptide, clinging to each other. Midterms hit like a freight train, burying us in flashcards and foam fingers from the library's sports section. One rainy Tuesday, holed up in our living room with laptops and lukewarm ramen, Ethan cracked first. I want more, he said, closing his bio notes. Rain lashed the window, turning the world gray. Not just this. Halfway shit. He crossed to my side of the couch, pulling me up and kissed me slow, deliberate, hands cupping my face, thumbs stroking my cheeks. It was different from the locker room frenzy. Tender, exploratory, like mapping uncharted stars. We sank to the floor, tangled in blankets, breath sinking as his fingers wove through my hair. No urgency, just presence, the weight of him grounding me, our hearts beating a shared rhythm. After we lay there, staring at the water-stained ceiling, his head on my chest. I love you, Jake Harlan, he murmured, tracing lazy circles on my arm. Southside scrapper and all. I chuckled, kissing his temple. And I love you, Iowa tornado. Flannel and farm dirt included. In that cocoon with thunder rumbling like applause, it felt invincible. We were building something real, brick by whispered brick. But America doesn't hand out fairy tales to queer kids in college towns. The betrayal brewed slow, insidious, in the form of good intentions gone toxic. It started with Marcus, Ethan's best friend from the team, a linebacker-sized backstroker with a heart of gold and zero filter. We'd always been tight, the three of us grabbing post-practice burgers at In-N-Out knockoffs, trading stories about exes and existential dread. Marcus suspected nothing at first, but after a sloppy team dinner where Ethan and I shared too many loaded glances, he cornered me in the parking lot. Rain-slicked asphalt gleamed under street lamps, the air thick with exhaust and unspoken accusations. Spill it, Harlan, he said, arms crossed over his Huskers hoodie. You two are weird lately. Like weird. My stomach dropped. Liar, confess. It's complicated, man. He leaned in, eyes narrowing. If you're messing with his head. I'm not. The words rushed out. We're together. For real. Shock rippled across his face, then softened into a grin. Holy shit, dude. That's awesome. Ethan's gonna be stoked, I know. He clapped my shoulder brotherly. Your secret's safe. But tell him soon. Guys got walls thicker than the Great Wall. Relief washed over me. Marcus was an ally, the first crack in our isolation. He even started covering for us. Whitaker's crashing at mine tonight, texts to throw off nosy teammates. For a week it was golden, inside jokes tripling our trio a quiet fortress. Then came the slip. Homecoming weekend, the campus a riot of black and gold, bonfires blazing against the November chill. The team's tailgate was packed. Kegs flowing, grills smoking with brats and burgers, alums in Letterman jackets swapping war stories. Ethan and I played it cool, but Marcus buzzed on cheap whiskey, let a you lovebird slip during cornhole. Laughter rippled, but Tyler's head snapped up, eyes sharpening like a hawk spotting prey. By Monday the rumor mill churned. Whispers in the weight room. Whitaker's got a boyfriend. Nah, can't be. Ethan confronted Marcus that night, voice low but laced with fury. What the fuck, bro? We weren't ready. Marcus, pale and pleading, swore it was a joke gone wrong. I thought you told him. Jake said. You told Jake. Ethan's betrayal hit like a sucker punch. He turned on me, eyes stormy. You outed us without me? Our apartment felt like a cage. It was an accident, he cornered me. I protested, pacing the kitchen linoleum. He swore he'd keep it quiet. Quiet. In this fishbowl. Ethan raked hands through his hair, pacing too. Now the whole team's talking. Coach pulled me aside today. Asked if I was distracted by drama. Jesus, Jake, this was our thing. The argument escalated, words like shrapnel. My recklessness, his paranoia, the fear we'd both buried. Maybe you're ashamed, I hurled, voice cracking. Maybe deep down you still think it's wrong. He recoiled like I'd slapped him. That's not fair. You know what my family's like, what they do. Silence stretched, heavy as lead, until he grabbed his keys. I need air. The door slammed, echoing my regret. He didn't come back that night. I crashed on the couch, phone silent, replaying every misstep. By dawn, guilt gnawed me hollow. Marcus texted an apology, but it rang empty. When Ethan finally returned, disheveled from a sleepless drive to the state line, the fracture was set. We tiptoed around it, kisses turning obligatory, trust eroded like riverbank clay. The real storm hit 2 weeks later, at the conference prelims in Minneapolis. The natatorium buzzed with chlorine fog and pre-race jitters, the air electric under the vaulted ceiling. We'd qualified strong, but tension simmered. Tyler, ever the instigator, cornered Ethan pre-warm-up. Heard you're batting for the other team, Whitaker. That true? Or just pillow talk with Harlan? Ethan's face drained of color. Back off, Ty. It's none of your business. Oh, it is when it tanks the relay. Tyler's laugh was ugly, laced with the venom of small-town bigotry. Coach knows. Thinks you're a liability. The betrayal crystallized. Marcus hadn't just slipped. He'd vented to Tyler in a moment of doubt, a just between bros that snowballed into sabotage. Ethan swam like a man possessed, per in the 200 free, but the relay faltered, my handoff sloppy under the weight of glares. We placed third, a bronze that tasted like ash. Back in the locker room, post-race haze thick, Ethan exploded. You happy now? He shouted at no one, towel whipping the bench. Coach stormed in, face thunderous. Whitaker. Harlan. My office. Now. The dressing down was brutal. This team's family. Distractions get you DQ'd. From life, not just meets. But the subtext screamed. Fix your fag drama or get out. Ethan, eyes glassy, nodded through it. I wanted to scream to out the whole rotten core, but his warning glance silenced me. That night, in a sterile hotel room overlooking the Mississippi, the dam broke. Ethan paced, fists clenched. It's over, Jake. We can't do this. My world tilted. What? Because of some assholes. Because it's destroying us. His voice cracked, tears spilling. I love you, God I do, but this town's poison. My scholarship, my future. I can't lose it all. Neither can I. I crossed to him, hands on his arms. But running? That's not you. That's fear winning. He pulled away, shoulders slumping. Maybe it has to. For now. He left at dawn, hitching a ride back with the bus, leaving me adrift in rumpled sheets. The weeks that followed were a slow bleed. He moved his stuff out in shifts. Flannel shirts vanishing from the closet. His Johnny Cash vinyls stacked in boxes. We avoided the apartment, him crashing on Marcus's couch, irony bitter as bile. Me holing up with textbooks and takeout. Practices were torture. Stolen glances across lanes, his form flawless but joyless. The team fractured, Tyler crowing victory, others shifting alliances. Marcus tried bridging, but Ethan's cold shoulder shut him out. Christmas break loomed like a guillotine. I flew home to Chicago, the L train rattling past snow-dusted tenements. Mom's hugs warm but probing. You sound lost, Mijo, she said over tamales, her nurse's intuition sharp. I deflected with lies about finals, but inside, grief festered. Ethan texted sporadically, miss you. Sorry. Each ping a knife twist. New Year's Eve, alone in the city that never sleeps, I wandered Millennium Park, been reflecting fireworks in fractured light. Drunk on cheap bourbon, I called him. Voicemail. Ethan, it's me. I get it, fear's a bastard. But love? That's the fight worth losing everything for. Come back. Please. No reply. Back at school, the spring semester dawned cruel. Ethan had transferred dorms, rooming with a freshman diver. Platonic, I knew, but the distance ached. We nodded in halls, polite as strangers. My grades slipped, his swims slowed. Coach benched him for a meet, citing focus issues. Whispers evolved to outright hostility. Graffiti in the bathroom stalls, fags out. I reported it anonymously, but the damage rooted deep. The climax crashed mid-February, at the Big Ten Championships in Bloomington. Snow blanketed Indiana. The arena a pressure cooker of screams and splashes. Ethan and I anchored the 400 free relay. Fate's cruel joke. Pre-race in the bullpen he pulled me aside, voice raw. One last swim. For us. Tears pricked my eyes. Always. The gun cracked. I dove first, arms slicing frigid water, every stroke a prayer. Handoff to butterfly, back to breast, then Ethan flying like redemption. The crowd blurred, it was just us, synced in liquid fury. We touched first. Gold. Medals heavy around our necks, but the embrace backstage. Clandestine, fierce, felt like victory. After, in the emptying locker room, echoes fading, he turned the lock. Deja vu but laced with finality. Jake, he started, eyes red-rimmed. I talked to my mom. Told her everything. My breath caught. And she cried. Hung up. But she called back. Said she loves me anyway. Always has. His smile trembled. It's a start. Relief crashed over me. What about us? He stepped close, hand finding mine. I'm done hiding. Coach knows Tyler's out, benched for good. And you? You're my home, Harles. If you'll have me. I pulled him in, kiss sealing the pact. Salty with tears, sweet with tomorrow. Idiot. Like I'd let you go. The road ahead? Rocky as the Mississippi bluffs. Families mending slow, teams rebuilding trust. Society's gaze ever judging. But in that locked room under fluorescent mercy we chose each other. Human frailty and all, flawed, fierce, unapologetic. Love in America isn't a straight shot. It's a relay, handoffs in the dark. And we just passed the baton. As spring thawed the heartland we rebuilt. Couples counseling disguised as stress sessions. Pride flags pinned discreetly in our new shared apartment. Ethan's sister visited, hugging us both with wide-eyed acceptance. My mom? She mailed rainbow socks, a quiet olive branch. We swam on, graduation looming, futures intertwined. Him coaching in Iowa City, me writing sports features for the Des Moines Register, stealing weekends in Chicago's dive bars. Betrayal scarred us, but it forged something unbreakable. In the end, the shock wasn't the lock clicking shut. It was realizing love could unlock anything, even ourselves. The metallic click of the lock still echoes in my quieter moments. A phantom sound that pulls me back to that humid October evening, when Ethan's confession cracked my world open like a fault line. But if I'm honest, the real hook wasn't the kiss that followed. It was the mornings after, when sunlight slanted through our apartment blinds and we'd wake tangled in sheets. His leg thrown over mine, breath steady against my neck. Those were the hooks that sank deepest, the quiet affirmations that whispered, this is real. This is us. We'd linger there. Coffee brewing in the kitchenette. Trading lazy smiles over mugs of diner black brew. Morning, swimmer boy, he'd murmur, voice gravelly from sleep, and I'd flip him off with a grin, but my heart would stutter like a bad flip turn. Life post-confession settled into a rhythm that felt dangerously normal. Classes dragged. My poli-sci seminars debating constitutional rights that suddenly hit too close to home. But the pool was our sanctuary. Early mornings at the rec center. Fog rising off the water as we powered through sets. Coaches whistle a metronome to our sync strokes. Ethan thrived under the routine, his times dropping like autumn leaves. While I found solace in the burn of lactic acid. The way it drowned out doubts. Evenings were ours. Cooking spaghetti from a box, sauce splattering the stove as we argued over playlist supremacy. His cash against my Springsteen. Boss knows heartbreak, I'd insist, and he'd counter with a twangy cover, pulling me into a slow dance that dissolved into laughter on the linoleum. But normalcy was a fragile veneer. The first real test came mid-November. At the Iowa/Illinois dual meet in Iowa City. The natatorium there was a cathedral of echoey vastness. Banners from 92 nationals fluttering like ghosts. Pre-meet nerves jangled. Ethan paced the deck in his parka, zipping and unzipping it compulsively. What if I choke? He muttered, more to himself than me. I clapped his shoulder, keeping it bro-code casual with teammates milling. You? Choke? You'd outswim a shark in a suit. He flashed that grin, the one that crinkled his eyes, and for a second the world righted. The meet unfolded in a blur of splashes and cheers. Our medley relay edging out by a fingertip, the crowd's roar vibrating through the bleachers. Post-victory, the team piled into buses for the 3-hour haul back to Ames, high on endorphins and gas station Red Bull. Ethan and I claimed the back row, knees bumping in the dim sway. As miles ticked by, farmland scrolling past frost-laced windows, his hand found mine under the shared hoodie draped across our laps. Hidden but there, fingers interlacing, a lifeline in the dark. Halfway home, Tyler's voice cut through the snores from the front. "Jo, Whitaker." That sorority chick from homecoming, saw her Insta. She posting thirst traps for you. Snickers rippled. Ethan's grip tightened, knuckles whitening. "Nah, man," he called back, forcing levity. "We're ancient history. Focusing on the season." The bus hit a pothole, jolting us. I squeezed his hand. "I've got you," but the seed of unease took root. Back in the apartment, he paced again, shedding layers like a snake. "It's always gonna be like this," he said, voice tight. "Jokes that aren't jokes." Eyes waiting for a slip. I pulled him down onto the couch, our go-to confessional. Then we fight it. Together. Small wins. Hold hands at that indie flick next week, screw the stairs. He searched my face, vulnerability raw. "You're braver than me, Harls. City kid with that Southside steel." "Bullshit. You're the one who locked that door." I kissed his forehead, lingering. "We're a team, remember?" That night we made love. Not the frantic passion of novels, but something gentler. Hands exploring with reverence, whispers mapping scars and dreams. His body was a landscape I'd memorized. The dip of his spine, the constellation of moles on his thigh. And in his arms I felt anchored, not adrift. Afterward, curled against him, I traced the tattoo on his ribcage. A compass rose from his high school graduation, pointing north. "What's your true north?" I asked softly. "You," he replied, simple as scripture. Sleep claimed us, but dawn brought the call that shattered the idol. My phone buzzed at 6:17 a.m., Mom's face lighting the screen. I fumbled it, voice thick. "Ma? Everything okay?" Her breath hitched, accent thickening with tears. "Me, Joe, your tia saw something on Facebook from that school paper. About boys. Is it true? About you." Ice flooded my veins. Ethan stirred, eyes widening as I pieced it together. The campus rag had run a fluff piece on the swim team, but some intern had shoehorned in a diversity note. Vague, but enough for family gossip chains to ignite. "Ma, it's me. And I'm happy." Silence stretched, then a sob. "But the church. Your abuela." More tears than resolve. "I love you, Jake. Always. Just come home soon. We talk." I hung up, chest hollow. Ethan pulled me close. "She'll come around. They all will." But doubt crept in, a shadow lengthening. My family was liberalish. Mom's pride marches in the 80s, Dad's absentee assholery notwithstanding. But Ethan's? His weekly calls home were minefields of coded language. Girlfriend placeholders to appease. When he hung up that Sunday, face ashen, I knew the quake had hit. "Dad asked if I was staying pure," he confessed, voice small. "Elite." Again. The lie festered. We threw ourselves into training, the pool a numbing elixir. December brought finals and flurries, our apartment a bunker of highlighters and hot toddies. One blizzard night, power out, we huddled under quilts with battery lantern glow, sharing stories by flickers. He told of his dad's abandonment, the pickup truck vanishing one dawn, leaving a note and a void. "Made me chase approval ever since," he admitted, head on my knee. I shared my own ghosts. The bully in 8th grade who'd shoved me into lockers for looking at him funny. The closet I'd built brick by terrified brick. Vulnerability bonded us tighter. But external pressures mounted. Coach called a team meeting post-holidays, eyes on Ethan and me. "Rumors are poison," he growled, burly arms crossed. "Focus on the water, not the whispers." It was code for keep it straight, and we nodded, but resentment simmered. Tyler's barbs sharpened, towel snaps aimed low. Accidental shoves in the lane. The breaking point loomed at winter break. Ethan headed home to Davenport. A 4-hour Greyhound ride along I-80's icy ribbon. 2 weeks, he promised at the bus station, kiss stolen in the terminal's fluorescent glare. Then New Year's in Chicago, you me deep dish rebellion. I waved him off, but solitude gnawed. Home was chaos. Mom's tentative hugs masking worry, cousins probing with "so any girls?" I dodged, burying in shifts at a Loop coffee shop, steaming lattes for holiday rush. New Year's Eve, Ethan arrived windswept, duffel slung, eyes lighting at the sight of me in our old neighborhood walk-up. Temporary crash with Mom's blessing. The city embraced us. Giordano's pie devoured on a drafty stoop. Then Navy Pier's lights twinkling like promises. Fireworks burst over the lake, his arm around my waist, world fading to just us. This is it, he whispered amid the booms. Our year. Back in Ames, resolve hardened. We came out piecemeal, to Marcus first, his bear hug erasing old sins. Then a study group buddy, her squeal of support echoing in the library stacks. The team? Patchy, some high fives, others side eyes. But Ethan swam freer, times peaking, while I penned an anonymous op-ed for the Daily on locker room myths. Catharsis in pixels. February's Valentine duel against Michigan State was electric. Pre-race, Ethan slipped a note into my bag. To my anchor, love a heart pounding, I swam lights out, but he was the star freestyle relay anchor, surging to victory by a body length. Post-meet in the rival's locker room, ours two mobbed. He pulled me into a supply closet, door locked, breaths mingling. You're my win, he said, kiss fierce and affirming. But joy's shadow is complacency, and betrayal waits for the unguarded back. It slithered in via email, innocuous at first. An invite to a team bonding weekend at Tyler's family cabin in the Ozarks. No drama, just brews and bros, the chain read. Ethan RSVP'd yes, eager for olive branches. I hesitated but followed. The drive down was tense. 4 hours of country radio and strained chat, Tyler at the wheel, his smirk in the rearview. The cabin was rustic kitsch. Log walls, a stone fireplace crackling, lake view iced over. Beers flowed, stories swapped, but undercurrents swirled. Late night, around the fire pit, Tyler turned predatory. So, Whitaker, how's the experiment going? Harlan teach you any tricks? Laughter died. Ethan's jaw clenched. Cut the shit, Ty. We're done with that. Oh, come on. Whole team's betting. How long till you bail? Tyler's eyes gleamed, phone in hand. Got pics too. From that homecoming Snapchat. Proof for the fam. The air froze. Ethan lunged, but I grabbed him back. He's bluffing. Tyler laughed, cruel. Am I? Send him to coach already. Anonymous tip. Betrayal hit like a gut punch. Not just Tyler's malice, but the realization. Marcus's slip had fed this monster, and our secrecy had starved it of light. We packed that night, tires spinning, gravel back to the highway. Silence reigned until dawn, Ethan's knuckles white on the dash. I can't trust anyone, he whispered. Not even us. The fallout cascaded. Coach hauled us in Monday. Photos printed, blurry, damning shots from a party, arms slung casual but telling. This ends your season if it leaks, he warned. Fix it. Fix it. We tried. Confronting Tyler, he denied, smirking. Pleading with Marcus, guilt carved him hollow. But the poison spread. Teammates ghosting, sponsor calls questioning optics. Ethan withdrew, swims mechanical, smiles forced. Our nights turned to battlegrounds. We fight public. I'd urge. Not yet, he'd counter, fear a chasm widening. By March, the relay qualifiers loomed. Our shot at nationals hanging by a thread. Practices were war. Coach pitting us against each other, time slipping. One evening, post-set, Ethan cornered me in the showers. Water cascading, steam veiling tears. I'm sorry, he choked. For dragging you into this. You're not. I cupped his face, thumbs wiping rivulets. We're in it. Together. But together cracked under isolation. He skipped dinners, buried in texts from home. His mom's worried voicemails about changes. I poured into writing. A journal of rages and reveries, but loneliness echoed. The prelude to climax brewed at a bar crawl, team unity event. Ironic as hell. Neon buzzed on Division Street. Ames artery of undergrad access. Shots lined up, toast slurred, but Tyler's crew shadowed us. Halfway through round 3 at the Rusty Nail, he cornered Ethan alone. I pushed through the throng too late, saw the shove, heard the slur. Freak! Fists flew. Ethan clocked him square. Blood blooming on Tyler's lip. Chaos erupted, bouncers hauling, sirens wailing. We bailed to the alley, breaths ragged. Ethan's knuckles split. Had to, he gasped, leaning on brick. For us. Police report, campus judicial, suspension loomed. Coach's ultimatum. One of you sits nationals. Choose. Ethan chose me. You're the steady hand, he said, voice steel. But it gutted him, scholarship teetering. That night, in our bed slick with sweat and sorrow, he broke. I can't be this version of me. The one who fights and loses. Don't quit us, I begged, holding tight. This is the storm. We weather it. Dawn found resolve, but the fracture deepened. Nationals approached, my events peaking, his sidelined. Whispers turned to walls, friends fading, family strains pulling. The betrayal wasn't Tyler's punch. It was the slow erosion of trust, wave by relentless wave. The alley fight lingered like a bruise, purple and tender, coloring every interaction in shades of caution. Campus judicial hearings dragged through April's tentative blooms, Tyler spinning victimhood while Ethan owned his swing. He had it coming. Delivered with quiet fire that earned reluctant nods from the panel. Suspended for the meet but not the season, he returned to practice as a ghost. Strokes efficient but soulless, eyes downcast in the locker room haze. I swam doubles, anchoring relays solo, but the void gaped, our synergy, that unspoken Morse in the water, reduced to echoes. Home became our fragile haven. Evenings we'd cook. His Iowa meatloaf clashing with my Chicago Italian beef experiments. Laughter forced at first, then genuine over spilled gravy and inside jokes. Remember that time in the dunes? He'd say, forking a bite, and I'd recount his sand dune wipeout, both dissolving into fits. Intimacy rebuilt slow. A hand on the small of my back while doing dishes. A goodnight kiss that deepened into shared breath. Bodies aligning like puzzle pieces worn smooth. You're my north, I'd whisper, echoing his tattoo, and he'd pull me closer, heartbeat a steady drum. But external tempests raged. Coach's fix-it ultimatum festered. He pulled strings to keep Ethan's scholarship intact but watched us like hawks. Post-practice chats laced with professionalism barbs. The team splintered. Loyalists like Marcus forming a buffer. Others drifting to Tyler's orbit. Meets turning tribal. Sponsors emailed veiled threats. Image concerns. Ethan's parents called more. Mom's voice thawing from frost to wary warmth. Proud of your grit, son. But Dad's silence screamed judgment. My own anchors frayed. Mom visited for parents' weekend. Her flight from O'Hare landing amid lilac-scented breezes. We strolled campus, her arm looped in mine, probing gentle. This boy, Ethan? He treats you right. Over coffee at the Union I nodded, words tumbling. Our story, the lock, the love. Tears welled in her eyes, not sorrow but fierce pride. Mijo, life's too short for closets. I marched for you before you were born. Her hug smelled of hospital antiseptic and home. Mending a rift I hadn't named. Ethan met her that night, nervous charm on display over lasagna, and her wink as she left sealed it. Take care of my boy. Bolstered, we pushed forward. Earth Day brought a campus pride panel. We attended incognito at first, then hand in hand as the crowd thinned, fingers laced defiant under string lights. A queer alumni swimmer shared his outed 90s saga, voice steady. The water doesn't care who you love. Neither should they. Ethan squeezed my hand, resolve hardening. Yet betrayal's aftershocks quaked. Mid-April, anonymous emails hit Ethan's inbox. Blurry photos from the bar fight, caption freak show over. IP traced to Tyler's dorm but proof thin, judicial slap on the wrist. Worse, a leaked voice memo surfaced on the team's group chat. Marcus drunk at a party venting doubts. Ethan's changed, man. That whole gay thing? It's messing him up. Recorded by Tyler, weaponized. Ethan confronted him in the quad. Cherry blossoms shedding like confetti on the tension. How could you? Voice low, lethal. Marcus crumbled, tears streaking. I was scared for you, for us. Thought talking it out.
Shit. I'm sorry.
The apology landed hollow. Ethan cut him loose. Brothers don't sabotage. And the trio died, a casualty of good intentions poisoned. I held him that night as sobs racked, farm boy toughness fracturing. Everyone leaves, he choked. Dad, now this. Not me, I vowed, rocking him like a storm-tossed boat. Never. Nationals prep ramped. Bloomington's Olympic trials vibe cranking pressure. I qualified solo in breaststroke. Ethan coaching from the deck. Whistles sharp, encouragement fiercer. Flip tighter, Harles owned that wall. His pride beamed post-qualifier. Metal around my neck like a talisman. We celebrated low-key. Rooftop picnic at the apartment. City lights winking below. Prosciutto and brie pilfered from the co-op. Under stars he sketched futures. Coaching camps in summer. A road trip post-grad to Yellowstone. Just us and the wild. With rings. I teased, popping a grape. His laugh warmed the chill. One step, city boy. But yeah, someday. Idle shattered May Day. Coach summoned us to his office, window overlooking the track. Sprinters blurring like our fading illusions. Folders splayed. Sponsor pullouts. Admin memos on conduct. Tyler's dad's on the booster board, he grunted. Pushing expulsion. Unless you two part ways publicly. The room spun. Ethan's face paled. You're asking us to lie?
Survival, son.
Swim's a business. We stormed out, united in rage. But seeds of doubt sprouted. Ethan's late-night scrolls through job listings, whispers of transferring east. For you, he'd say. Better seen. Don't, I'd plead. We fight here. Climax crested at the send-off banquet. Gym decked in balloons and banners, alums toasting legacies. Suits starched, we sat front row, Ethan's knee pressed to mine under the tablecloth. A silent "we're here." Speeches droned, coach's gruff pride, captain's bromides, until Tyler rose, mic in hand, smirk predatory. To the team, real team. No distractions. Murmurs swelled. Ethan tensed, I gripped his thigh steady. Then Marcus stood, voice booming. Bullshit. To Jake and Ethan, the heart of this relay. Love's not a distraction, it's fuel. Applause erupted, fractured but fervent. Tyler flushed crimson, mic dropping like a gauntlet. Chaos followed, shouts, chairs scraping, coach bellowing order. In the melee, Ethan pulled me backstage, door barred. That was you? He asked Marcus, who followed contrite. Redemption swim, Marcus grinned sheepish. Oh, you brothers.
Forgiveness flickered, tentative.
But Tyler's retaliation struck pre-dawn. Slashed tires on Ethan's truck, spray paint on the hood, queer out. Police lights flashed our street, neighbors peeking curtains. As tow trucks hauled, Ethan shattered. This place is killing us. I pulled him into the dawn chill, arms tight. Then we leave. After nationals, together. The pact sealed, but grief lingered. Practices turned elegiac. Every lap a goodbye to the team that birthed and broke us. Graduation loomed, caps and gowns a horizon line. Nationals arrived in a whirlwind. Flights to Indy, hotel rooms humming with contenders. Opening night, breaststroke prelims. Nerves electric, Ethan in the stands, his text pre-race, swim for the lock. I dove, world narrowing to blue, touching second. Semis, then finals, gold by a tenth, his whoop piercing the din. Post-podium, we met in the underbelly tunnels, concrete cool, echoes hollow. Proud, he breathed, kiss salt-laced with sweat. My champion. Relay day, dawn brutal, medley, me on breast, a wild card anchor spot. Heat 1. Disaster, handoff fumbled, fourth. Heat 2, redemption brewing. Deckside, Ethan gripped my goggles. Feel the pull. Us against the tide. Gunfire. Fly blurred, backstroke steady. Then me surging through froth, lungs burning, crowd a roar. Handoff clean to freestyle wildcard, a freshman firecracker. We touched bronze, but ours. Medals clinked. Team hugs fierce. Tyler absent, suspended, whispers said. Banquet night, under chandeliers, speeches soared. I accepted my hardware, voice steady. To the ones who locked doors and opened hearts. Love wins races. Applause thundered. Ethan's eyes shone, brimming. Back in the room, champagne fizzing, we toasted. Naked truths, bodies entwined in victory's glow. We did it, he murmured, fingers tracing my metal chain. But dawn brought the call. Ethan's dad, voice gravel. Saw the news. Proud. But come home. Talk. Closure beckoned, terrifying. We flew back, fractured but whole, Ames Fields greening like hope. The flight home from nationals was a decompression chamber. Turbulence jostling us like aftershocks. Ethan's head on my shoulder, metal still warm against his chest. Below, the heartland sprawled in patchwork quilts of green and gold. A reminder of roots we'd outgrown but couldn't sever. His dad's call looped in my mind, proud. But come home. Pride laced with but. A conditional grace that twisted like barbed wire. Ethan stared out the window, jaw set, fingers drumming his thigh. What if it's a trap? He murmured, voice barely audible over the engines. Then we face it, I said, squeezing his hand in the armrest gap. Together. Like always. Ames welcomed us with May's humid kiss. Dorms emptying, quads alive with frisbee flings and farewell barbecues. Graduation rehearsals clogged the Coliseum, caps mortared in air, but our focus narrowed. Packing the apartment, a ritual of sifting memories. Flannel shirts folded with care, Johnny Cash vinyls crated beside my guitar. Artifacts of a life we'd built, now boxed for transit. Marcus helped lugging boxes with sheepish grins. Missed this, he grunted stacking. The rift mended slow. Beers at the rusty nail, apologies aired like laundry, but trust rebuilt layer by tentative layer. Coach's farewell was gruff handshakes and a rare smile. You two changed the game. Don't let the world unmake it. Tyler? Gone, expelled after the vandalism rap. His dad's influence crumbling under admin scrutiny. Whisper said he transferred to a D3 school in the sticks, a footnote in our saga. Commencement dawn crisp, sky a vast cerulean. Families flooded the stadium. Mom in her best sundress, clutching a sign. Go Jake. Ethan's kin arrived en masse. Mom in floral blouse, sister Ellie bouncing with braces glint excitement. Dad a monolith in khakis, face unreadable. We processed in navy robes, the sea of graduates a tide. But my eyes sought his. Ethan too rose up, turning with a wink that steadied my pulse. Diplomas in hand, mine in journalism, his in kinesiology. We posed for pics. Arms slung, grins wide. Mom hugged Ethan fierce. Welcome to the family, Mijo. Drawing a blush. His folks hovered. Dad's nod curt, but Mom's embrace lingered. So proud, she whispered to him, eyes flicking to me with quiet approval. The after-party was campus chaos. Open bars at the Union, alums toasting under tents. Ellie cornered us by the duck pond, smartphone out. You guys are cute. Like goals. Her candor disarmed. Ethan ruffled her hair, laughing. Dad approached then, beer in hand, voice low.
Son.
A word. We stepped aside, gravel crunching under loafers. I hung back, heart hammering. Ethan's shoulders squared, farm boy armor. Words exchanged, terse then softening. Dad's gruff, I was wrong. Ethan's choked, I needed that. Handshake then miracle, a clap on my back. Take care of him, Harlan. Tears pricked as we rejoined the fray. It's okay, Ethan breathed later, alone on our stoop, suitcases curbside for the U-Haul. Not perfect, but enough. We drove west that night, me behind the wheel, him shotgun, playlist shuffling our anthems. Destination. A sublet in Iowa City, grad school bridge for him, freelance gigs for me. The highway hummed, stars pricking the ink-black sky. Remember the lock? He asked, hand on my knee. Shocked the hell out of me. I grinned. Best plot twist ever. Summer unfolded in lazy loops. His coaching clinic mornings, my cafe writes afternoons. Evenings we biked the trails, Mississippi glittering, fireflies winking like conspirators. Intimacy deepened, unhurried. Lazy Sundays in bed, reading aloud from Kerouac, his voice twanging the prose. Trail runs where sweat mingled, kisses stolen mid-stride. But humanism's arc bends slow. Ethan's homecoming tested that. Davenport sprawl, cornfields framing tract homes, the river a muddy vein. His folks' rancher smelled of pot roast and pine sol, Mom's hug enveloping. Dinner was stilted. Small talk on crops, Ellie's chatter a buffer. Dad cleared throat post pie. About. Things. Pause, fork tinkling plate. Bible says one way but heart says another. You're my boy. That's scripture enough. Ethan's eyes welled. Mom's hand covered his. We love you both. Me included. A quiet both that unlocked floods. We stayed the week, mending. Dad and I fishing the Mississippi, silences companionable. Mom teaching me pie crust, her stories of 70s farm life weaving parallels to my mom's grit. Back in Iowa City, fortified, we chased dreams. I landed a stringer gig with the Press Citizen, swim meets human interests, while Ethan aced his master's prereqs, volunteering at the Y Pride Month hit. We marched downtown, rainbows fluttering, his hand high in mine. Strangers cheered. A kid waved a flag, eyes wide. That's us, Ethan said, voice thick. Visible. Conflict resurfaced in ripples. A homophobic heckle at a Hawkeyes game. Venom spat from bleachers. Sponsor cold calls for my bylines. Diversity quotas thinly veiled. Ethan's clinic faced pushback. Parent emails on influence. But he stood firm, quoting Title IX like a shield. Fall semester anchored us. Classes clashed. his biomechanics my ethics seminars, but study dates in coffee shops bridged, notes swapped amid lattes. One October Eve post-midterms we drove to the Amana colonies, German heritage haven, amber leaves carpeting roads. In room overlooked vineyards, candlelit dinner of schnitzel and sauerkraut. To shocks that save, he toasted, glass clinking. Dessert led to bed, love making a symphony. Slow builds, gasps harmonizing, his name a mantra on my lips. Afterward, tangled in linen, he proposed, not ring but promise. Marry me? Someday legally in a city that cares. Tears stung. Yes. All the days. Winter brought trials. My mom's health scare, gallstones, surgery swift but scary, pulling me to Chicago. Ethan drove the 8 hours, holding her hand post-op, his calm a bomb. Family, he said simply, as we crashed on the fold-out, city sirens serenading. Spring 2027 bloomed with milestones. His thesis defense nailed with poise, my first byline feature on queer athletes, Ethan's relay anonymized but essence his. Graduation redux, smaller mastershood crimson, my clips portfolio in tow. Job offers trickled. Him at a Des Moines academy, me at the register sports desk. But climax's echo demanded reckoning. Tyler resurfaced, LinkedIn ping, apology terse. Grew up. Sorry. Ethan deleted, unread. Some shock scar, he said. We focus forward. Road trip west, Yellowstone's geysers steaming like our past reinvention. One August dawn in a tent under Tetons, he woke me with coffee and a box. Simple band, tungsten etched with a compass. Now, he said, kneeling on dew-slick pine. Marry me now. Vows here, official later. I pulled him up, yes, a breath. Rings exchanged, promises etched. Through betrayal storms the lock's legacy. Years blurred. Des Moines duplex, his coaching whistle, my deadline dashes. Kids came via surrogacy. Adopted twins, city chaos in corn country. Mom visited, grandbabies on hips. Ethan's dad, softer with age, barbecues his domain. The shock? Not the door but endurance. Love's quiet drama. Humanistic in its mess. We lock doors daily, not in fear but choice. And in America's vast heart we thrived. Looking back, the true arc of our story wasn't the locker room lock or the betrayals that followed. It was the unlocking, the slow, stubborn turning of keys in rusted mechanisms, each click a victory over entropy. By our 5th anniversary, that October Eve mirroring the first, we traded the cramped Ames walk-up for a craftsman bungalow on Des Moines East Side. White clapboard, porch swing creaking under firefly lanterns, the Wapsipinicon a lazy ribbon 2 blocks off. The kids, Mia and Luca. 4-year-old whirlwinds with Ethan's hazel eyes and my stubborn curls. Chased each other through sprinklers, shrieks piercing the dusk. Daddy Jake. Catch. Luca yelled, hurling a soggy frisbee my way. I scooped it midair, feigning stagger, while Ethan watched from the grill, tongs poised over sizzling ribs. Show off, he called, grin lopsided, apron smeared with sauce. At 30 he was broader. Coaching had packed on muscle, laugh lines etching deeper, but those eyes still sparked, undimmed. Dinner's up, he hollered, and chaos converged. Plates balanced, kids corralled, mom's potato salad passed. She'd driven up from Chicago, widowed now but fierce. Ethan's folks arrived too. Dad manning the cooler with IPAs, mom fussing over Mia's braids. Ellie, home from med school, snapped candidates on her phone. You two are disgustingly domestic, she teased, but her hug lingered, sisterly seal. Table set under string lights, we ate, ribs falling off bone. Corn butter dripped, stories flowing like the wine. Luca regaled on preschool triumphs. I swim like Papa. Mia demanding encores of Ethan's twangy lullabies. Dad raised glass mid-meal. To family. The one you're born to and the one you build. His voice caught. Remnant of old walls, now rubble. Cheers echoed, heartfelt. Post-bedtimes, kids tucked with tales of brave swimmers. I and Ethan retreated to the swing. Beers sweating in holders. Crickets chorused, stars pricking velvet sky. 5 years, he murmured, head on my shoulder. Feels like yesterday. And forever. I kissed his temple, salt of sweat lingering. Remember Tyler's last email. Congrats on the twins. World turns. He chuckled low. Humanity wins, slow but sure. Workdays anchored routine. My register beat. Features on underdog teams, queer youth leagues. Deadlines a familiar grind. Ethan's academy thrived, inclusive programs drawing diverse talent, his whistle a beacon. Challenges nipped, budget cuts threatening his job, a bigoted parent petition, but we tag-teamed. School board meetings, my words weaponized in op-eds. Personal storms brewed too. Mom's health waned. Chemo for breast cancer, her nurse's irony bitter. We shuttled to Chicago, kids in tow, her bed a fort of pillows and cartoons. You boys, she'd rasp, hands in ours, gave me fight. She passed in a spring dawn, window framing lake silver, her last words a blessing. Love loud. Funeral was rainbow-streaked. Friends from her marches our circle wide. Grief hollowed but gratitude filled. Her acceptance a cornerstone. Ethan's dad followed 2 summers later. Heart attack mid-harvest, combine idling in the field. Farm funeral, soil under nails, kin in flannel. Eulogy fell to Ethan. He taught me grit and grace. Tears fell unashamed. In the receiving line, a cousin's quiet proud of you mended old slights. Parenting's drama unfolded raw. Mia's first crush, a classmate's gentle confusion. Luca's playground shove for, that's my dad's. We navigated with books and talks, and Tango makes 3 honest Q&As modeling vulnerability. Date nights sustained. Swing dances at the local hall, his hand firm in mine, or Des Moines Art Center strolls, whispers amid sculptures. Anniversaries marked milestones. 7th. Yellowstone Redux, tent pitched where he'd proposed. Rings renewed under geysers steam. 10th. Chicago courthouse, legal vows amid skyline. Mom's socks on our feet for luck. Kids grew, middle school Mia captaining swim, Luca strumming guitar like me. Their queerness a given, world kinder by increments. Betrayals? Echoes faded, lessons etched. Marcus visited yearly, uncle to the chaos. Tyler a distant myth, reformed in obscurity. Society shifted, Obergefell echoes, trans rights battles we joined with petitions and pride floats. Climax revisited in quiet ways. A high schooler's coming out email inspired by my piece. You and your husband gave me courage. Or Ethan's Clinic Award. Plaque citing inclusive excellence. Shocks now were joys. Luca's first medal. Mia's debate win on equality. At 15 years, gray threading our temples, we locked the bungalow door. Not against world, but for it. Porch swing our throne, grandkids someday stream. Shocked. Ethan asked one eve, wineglass tilting. Every day.
Kis soft. Enduring.
In America's weave, flawed vast, weed-threaded gold. Human heroic home. The end? Not tragedy nor flawless happy. Just ours locked, unlocked, loved.